Just so everyone knows before we start, there's now a frost warning out for tonight as well as tomorrow night.
Let it.
All the more reason to have a greenhouse.
And we're now live. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Justin. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. We moved by Councillor Riel and seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that the regular council meeting be amended as follows: the addition in 8B CQNS Inc. Contract. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Euler, seconded Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council accepts the regular agenda as amended. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, the regular council meeting of May 10th. Any errors or omissions? Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council now adjourns to hear the appeal hearing as scheduled. The appeal hearing, notice of objection appeal to the city order to demolish dwelling located at 309 2nd Avenue Northeast. Council will now commence the hearing. Notice of objection appeal received as a result of the city sending an order to demolish dated March 10th to the following property: the estate of Leon Peter Berdini, care of Neil Berdini, for the property at 309 2nd Avenue Northeast. Neil, your turn to present the information and comments related to this appeal.
Okay. I'm asking for an extension of the date to August 31st, 2021 to deal with the demolition of the building, dealing with the due to the estate problems with the court, and the time that the town gave me in the beginning wasn't enough. I'm in college. I'm in Winnipeg right now, so I needed the time to get finished and then get everything in order to get to town to deal with it. And due to the COVID pandemic going on, there's a lot of everything's slower to deal with the estate, and the lawyers are taking their time. So in the meantime, I've been acting on it and cleaning the property and doing what I can to, secure the perimeter and keep people out of there and fully cleaning it up. But I just had to deal with the estate because it's unclear as to who's responsible and who's taking over the bill to do it. But in the meantime, me and my brother are just slowly doing it at this point. It's just I needed to get to Dock and get my affairs in order so I can deal with it full time. And and get some equipment lined up and get stuff ready to go. Aside from the emotional loss and everything with the property and everything, because we were lost as to what to do in the beginning, because there's no insurance involved, so it's just our own dollar dealing with it. So the time needed is to get equipment ready and get it done ourselves. And as long as the estate goes as clear as my lawyer says it will, it should be okay. But we'll, in the meantime, be working at it to put up a temporary fence and keep people out of there, and slowly be taking the debris away off the property and taking it down piece by piece, so, and securing it so it's not a structural hazard to the back lane or the sidewalks or anything.
What, I think you requested to extend to August 31st, is that right?
Yeah, that's what I wrote down.
Is that fair? Is it, do you think you can have it done by then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's not going to take that long. I mean, I'm not waiting for, I was waiting for the courts to settle it all out, but I'm just going to go ahead with it and start cleaning it up. So I should be able to have it all done then, but like in a perfect world, I don't want to get rid of the property. I wanted to continue it on, but that's not the case right now.
Good. Any questions from councilors? Councilor Bellemare?
Yes, my condolences. I mean, it's a very big loss for your family, and I just want you to know that my condolences are going your way. One of the things that you said just now concerned me. You said there's no insurance on this property. So I'm just concerned about your liability. I don't know how that works. You mentioned that you have a temporary fence, and so that's another 3 months perhaps until that building is down. If something were to happen, someone were to breach the fence and get into problems, I don't know, maybe Charlotte, our city manager, can explain where would the liability be, just so that this family doesn't have any more tough stuff to deal with.
I think it's in everybody's best interest to clean it up as soon as possible, or to make it safe as soon as possible. Right now, it would be the estate of Mr. Berdani, and I don't think that anybody wants anything further on that estate. In terms of the city, as long as we have city's liability, as long as we have instructions in place to secure it, and as long as Neil, you're doing so the best of your ability to secure it, I think that things are covered, but it needs to be in a safe state as quickly as possible. Personally, I have not driven by it recently, so I don't know what it looks like. But maybe Neil, are you able to give us an update of what your opinion on how secure it is right now?
Okay, yeah. Up until the end of April, it just had some barricades around it. It kind of looked like war barricades around it, just to keep nobody could drive in. But we put up a temporary 10-foot high fence at the back so nobody could walk in out of tin, and then all the windows and doors are secured with tin and reinforced from the inside. And the front is open. It just has a fence in the front, but we're going to be putting up a temporary fence so nobody can walk in easily. As well, we have the cooperation of our neighbors. All our neighbors they were involved with my dad a lot with business and everything. They never complained about anything, noise or anything. So they've been watching the property. I mean, I own the property across the street, the home I rented out. So that tenant is always letting me know what's happening there when I'm not in Dauphin. So and the neighbor has a camera set up, so he's watching the yard. He's always monitoring it, make sure nobody comes in through the front. And there's about 3 or 4 neighbors that are all watching it, as well as my brother in the mornings and evenings. So he's always there. And then now that I'm done my courses, I'm more or less there full time. Like I'll stay right on the property at nighttime as we're cleaning and stuff, so nobody's coming in and out of there. So the fence at the back was a big thing to stop anybody from the back lane kind of just walking in and hurting themselves on debris. But we haven't had it like for the long. I've been every day I deal with the neighbors. They tell me that nobody's in the yard, and the one tenant is there full time, so she knows that if there's anybody there in the yard. She works from home.
That sounds like you've covered a lot of bases, Neil. Thank you very much. I think just to stress, you are sure that August 31st is a date that you can meet?
I'm gonna do everything I can to make it that day. Yeah, like I'll try not to have anything standing by then, anything that could be a danger, like the building. As for the building standing, I mean, what is the town looking for by August 31st? The whole property, nothing left on the property, like nothing on there at all?
So basically, we would be looking for the demolition of the structure. If there are items inside the building that would be, reasonably housed outside, I think that would be something perhaps on a temporary basis. But we would be looking for the entire structure to be down
Okay.
and removed from the property.
And as for the foundation, like the concrete foundation,
I guess it would also depend on if you were thinking of rebuilding and if you had something that you could give to, say, our building inspector. I think you've been working with Dave Durkach on this. If you were to give something by that August 31st to Dave, indicating that the structure is sound and that you are going to rebuild on it. Otherwise, if it's not sound, then it does need to be removed as well.
Okay. That's something I never got clear from Dave, and I don't know if this is the meeting to discuss it or not, but like if our plan was to rebuild, the problem was the zoning issues. Because I mean, our plan was to come home and continue on the business and do something bigger with it, but I've been told by many landowners that have dealt with business in town that it's not really a possibility now. So if that's not the case, then it would be coming down as soon as we can get it done.
Yes, I think that you are aware it is in a residentially zoned property or residentially zoned lot.
Yeah.
And that solely a business on that lot is not compatible with what our zoning and bylaws allow.
Okay. Yeah, so everything, we will do whatever we can to have it down before August 31st.
Certainly, I would encourage you to continue communications with our building inspector, Dave Durkach, and keep him informed of your progress.
Okay.
I don't know, councilors feel, we say that we're going to make our decision, but I feel to let Mr. Berdani, I would suggest that August 31st is okay. He's in good faith, and we'll grant it, and we'll confirm it with the letter. Is that okay with council? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, we can deliberate formally, but I do have heads nodding yes in council chambers here.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll verbally approve, and then we'll confirm it with a letter to you, Neil.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
You
All
and
the
the council.
best.
Thank you.
All the best in your, I know it's a trying time, so take care. Thank you for your explanation and all the best in the future.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, council.
Thank you.
All right, goodbye. Neil Burdani.
Is now exiting.
Okay. Thank you, council. Seemed like a very genuine person. I thought it was appropriate to not set up another roadblock for you. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Sticilo. Be it resolved that all items under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. Got all these proclamations again. First one, whereas Lieutenant Colonel Billy Barker, VC, has been commemorated by the Government of Canada as an individual of national significance, is one of Canada's most beloved and decorated servicemen of any armed conflict, and whereas his birthplace was Dauphin, and whereas he gallantly served as a pilot in World War I, and whereas he received the Victoria Cross in 1918 for his outstanding bravery, and whereas we recognize his loyal dedication and sacrifice, now we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, proclaim June 1st as Lieutenant Colonel Billy Barker, VC Day. And I'll sign it formally tomorrow at the council chambers. And also, I think some people know he was the first president of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he was brought in for his to ensure to toughen up the Maple Leaf team at that time. So that is, and they think they're going to win the Stanley Cup this year, but Winnipeg is in their way. Next proclamation, whereas World Environment Day hosted in Pakistan in 2021 calls for urgent action to revive our damaged ecosystems globally. And whereas World Environment Day 2021 will see the launch of the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, a global rallying cry for everyone, from corporations to governments and citizens, to do their part in healing our healing planet. And whereas the UN decade runs from 2021 to 2030, which is also the timeline scientists have identified as the last chance to prevent catastrophic climate change and the loss of millions of species. And whereas ecosystem restoration can take many forms, including growing trees, greening cities, rewilding gardens, changing diets, or cleaning up rivers and coasts. And whereas World Environment Day is a global platform for raising awareness and taking action on urgent issues such as global warming and sustainable consumption, and recognizes that the future of humanity depends on action now. We, the Council of City of Dauphin, do proclaim June 5th, 2021 as World Environment Day, and I'll sign it tomorrow at City Hall. Next is the whereas the City of Dauphin adoption of a 2021 active transportation strategy reflects the city's commitment to encouraging active living, promoting cycling opportunities, and doing our part to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And whereas the Dauphin Derailleur Cycle Club has worked hard to foster a positive and inclusive cycling culture that promotes a lifestyle of wellness and a connection to nature. And whereas the city and cycle club share a mission to enhancing cycling experience, activities, and culture in the parkland by developing a cycling infrastructure and encouraging residents to bike to work, to school, and to shop wherever possible. We, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do proclaim June 7th to the 13th by 2021 as Dauphin Bike Week. To encourage all councillors and the deputy mayor and the mayor to cycle not only that week, but every week as weather prevails. And recommended by the mayor and city manager, and outstanding water bills added to taxes 09-97100, 522 First Street Northwest for $228.90. Previous tenant did not pay the final utility bill as recommended by the Director of Finance and Utility Clerk. The filing items, AMM District meeting registration, and nominations for AMM board positions, FCM Connect of May 11th, 14th, and 18th. Manitoba Media Releases Parent Engagement Task Force, Premier and Central Services partnering with ExploreNet to improve rural connectivity, and the COVID-19 bulletins. Municipal Relations 2021 Mobility Disadvantaged Transportation Program top-up grant, and Manitoba Fire Services Restoring Services for Testing and Training. The Office of the Fire Commissioner Exemplary Service Awards, nominations and submissions, and Thompson Chamber of Commerce funding for EV charging infrastructure as recommended by the mayor and city manager. Any questions, Councilor Belmer?
Yes, with regards to that mobility disadvantaged transportation program, it sounds like our handy van would fit in with that. Do you know if they have received that information and or if they've applied?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I do have a comment on that. I was speaking with one of their representatives, Lori Bremner, and I believe, in fact, they did apply or did receive that money.
Okay, I just want to check because sometimes cyberspace takes care of things like that. So thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on. Moved by Councilor Bellemare, seconded by Councilor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information following report for May 25th, 2021 of the city manager. Go ahead, city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a couple weeks since our last meeting, and I've had lots of different discussions with different groups. It's great to see some communication with some new groups happening. My usual COVID update. As of the time of writing of our memo, there were the introduction of a few more restrictions regarding the May long weekend, and it was about meeting in groups and one person per store, things like that. Those did not affect the operation of city facilities. And just today, the province did announce that they will be extending those same orders until May 29th at 12:01 a.m. And so I expect that we will be hearing some new orders or continuations at the end of this week. So we all have to stay tuned for that. In terms of our affordable housing project, so I met met online with the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, along with the other representatives from municipalities around Manitoba. So after that meeting, I met with the economic development manager to review what information that we had, and as well as brainstorming ideas based on the information and conversations that we've had with interested organizations in Dauphin, and attempted to devise a plan. However, we ended up having more questions than plans, I guess, if you will. So we compiled those questions, sent them off to Manitoba Housing, and we are still waiting for their reply on that. Once we do get a reply, our ideas are to devise a plan, or at least the sketch of a plan, and then run that by council for council's review. And that was the order. Well, I guess we devise the plan, get it approved in principle by Manitoba Housing, and then send it through to council to make sure that council is approved of that. We don't want to send things to council that Manitoba Housing does not approve. So it's a bit of a back and forth between us and Manitoba Housing right now, but please know that we are making a bit of headway on that. Another thing that did occupy a lot of my time in the last couple of weeks was the Dauphin Regional Airport Authority. We have 4 meetings a year, and May 20th was one of our quarterly meetings. We talked about a few things budget-wise, as well as some of the work that will be done at the airport this year. One of the interesting projects, and I guess I don't know if I'm starting to be more interested in air travel, or I'm just fascinated by things that fly, because nobody that I know are really flying around right now. But one of the manuals that I've been working on is an airside vehicle operation permit, or an AVOP. And that is a requirement of our airport operations manual. So an AVOP is a permit issued to an individual by the airport upon successful completion of training on the rules of operating a vehicle on the apron, taxiway, and runway. So basically on the business side of an airport, where the planes go. And so I've learned a lot of more things about aviation, including some different lingo and Alpha Charlie, this, that, or whatever else. So that's been interesting. And also I did present to council some information about the evacuation of a community to Dauphin. So May 20th, due to wildfires, residents of 5 communities northeast of Dauphin were evacuated. One of those communities were evacuated to Dauphin. So on May 20th and 21st, I had discussions with our municipal emergency coordinator regarding any requirements of the city. And between the two of us, we spoke with representatives from the RCMP, the Dauphin Fire Department, Public Health, Red Cross, and the Provincial Emergency Measures Office. We were assured by those organizations that they were handling all aspects of the situation, including the COVID-19 protocols. In our discussions, we did identify an opportunity to improve some communications between the Red Cross and EMO. And the EMO is looking at setting up a protocol between the two organizations for future scenarios to ensure the EMO, and then in turn, municipalities are better informed. It was not necessarily that the city needs to be involved, but it is nice for the city to know what's going on. And so we're looking at getting looped into an information protocol. And that concludes my report.
Question, Councillor Bellemare?
Yes, City Manager, further to what you just said about the improved protocol, is that just for the city of Dauphin, or is that something that will be instituted provincially?
So I think right now it was something that we've highlighted it as a request or as something that we'd like to see. If it's going through the Emergency Measures Office, it most likely will be provincial.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other? Councillor Biel?
I have one question and one comment. So the question in regards to the Manitoba Housing Grant money, I see that you and as well as the Economic Development Manager have had some meetings with interested parties. Just wondering what your plan is in regards to once our parameters are in place, how are you going to ensure that everybody's aware of what they are and what's the process for that? Do you know that yet?
So we don't know that specifically, but we know who we've talked to. So we want to make sure that once we have a program in place that we actually contact them directly. We also want to get it out into the media, whether it's the radio, newspaper, or and social media, just to let people know that we would have an application process open.
Okay, thanks. And the other one, just as a comment. So as a result of the evacuation, I also made some inquiries this weekend. And it was very nice to know that along with Red Cross, they also have many volunteers that come in to ensure, actually stay in hotels with people and make sure things are well looked after. And I just want to thank Under One Roof. Within a short period of time, they were able to put together care packages for the evacuees, take it over it, as well as the other people in the community who helped out. So thank you to those people for doing that.
Any other questions? We'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Riel, be it resolved that corporate report of the Economic Development Manager. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Lachlan. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information corporate report of May 25th, 2021, and that of the ICT manager. Notice the contract is going to be approved for improved communication systems at City Hall. So it's a good step forward. I think he said he'd do it in the summertime. So
That's
less
correct.
disruption. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that the finance accounts have been examined by Council, be hereby authorized and approved. Check numbers 28046 to 28150, 105 checks for $495,883.12. There is no voided checks and no electronic payments. There's a few larger checks over 15,000. Tag cost for caustic soda for a water treatment plant, $21,112.04. ESRI for GIS work, $20,540.80. Manitoba Hydro, $19,862.91. Receiver General income tax reductions, $42,278.90. Urban Systems, $27,650. WAC, the second quarter payment of $18,250.61. Receiver General may deduct, this is Rec Department, the May payment of $141,124.05. Airport January to March contribution of $32,421.48. OSS $18,149.37, and sick leave payment to retired Director of Operations of $29,385.20. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Loughlin, Deputy Mayor Loughlin, second by Councillor Stakilo. Minutes of the Community Blue meeting of April 29th. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas 2020 Urban System Consulting developed an active transportation strategy for the City of Dauphin, which was presented to Council at the regular meeting of April 19th, and whereas the Federation FCM Green Municipal Fund awarded the City of Dauphin a grant in the amount of $27,900 for up to 50% of the eligible cost to support the funding of this active transportation strategy. It resolved that Council accepts this information, a memorandum dated May 21st, 2020 from the Director of Public Works and Operations, recommending that the City of Dauphin active transportation as prepared by Urban Systems Consulting be approved as an official document which can be forwarded to the FCF to enable the release of a $27,900 municipal funding grant. Further, be it resolved that Council agrees with the recommendation from the Director of Public Works and approves and adopts the 2020 Active Transportation Strategy as an official plan to guide the City of Dauphin in the development of active transportation infrastructure through 2021 and beyond. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. This was the addition to the agenda, moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Bellemare, whereas April 19, 2021 Council meeting, Council awarded the contract for Dauphin Business Park marketing to CQNS. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information, the services agreement between CQNS and the City of Dauphin and the RM of Dauphin for a marketing strategy and materials for the Dauphin Business Park. Further, be it resolved that Council authorizes the City Manager to sign and seal the service agreement on behalf of the City of Dauphin, and also the RM will be signing that. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carries. Moved by Councillor Yell, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas on December 11th, 2020, House of Commons passed a motion to bring a national 3-digit 988 suicide prevention hotline to Canada. Be it resolved, the Council accepts as information correspondence from Dan Mazur, Member of Parliament representing Dauphin, Swan River and Neepawa, noting the alarming rate of suicide in Dauphin, in Canada, and requesting a letter of support. The motion to establish a national suicide prevention hotline that consolidates all suicide crisis numbers into one easy to remember 3-digit 988 hotline that is accessible to all Canadians. Further, be it resolved, the Council recognizes the impact of COVID-19 on the mental health of Canadians and importance of providing accessible mental health supports in times of crisis, and authorizes administration to provide a letter supporting the motion to bring national 3-digit 988 suicide prevention hotline to Canada. And in that letter, make sure a copy goes to the Dan Mazur MP. Any questions? Comments? I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that information and invitations, AMM City Caucus meeting on May 28th, this Friday. That's the first one we've had for a while. And AMM municipalities and Efficiency Manitoba Efficiency Program for Municipal Buildings webinar on May 28th. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. We'll start Councillor privileges. Start with the online people. Councillor Bellemare.
I knew if I smiled, you'd pick me first, Mayor. Okay, for council work since the last council meeting, I attended a meeting. There's a new committee, DAWCC, Dauphin and Area Welcoming Community Coalition. So basically, there's about a dozen stakeholders in the community, and right now we're just setting up the parameters in preparation for future work. And the future work, of course, is to make our community even more welcoming for all new residents, whether they come here through immigration or a new job or whatever brings them here. On May 11th, I attended the virtual State of the City address through the local chamber on their Facebook page. If you missed it, there is a recording available, and Mayor Dohan did a great job explaining this year's budget, complete with informative slides of information. And a special project that he mentioned, a new multi-use court that's going to be constructed at Meadowlark Park, which will have pickleball facilities, a full-size basketball court and tennis, and it's supposed to be completed by the end of July. Opportunities, I recently did some online training courses on Microsoft Office. If you're interested in opportunities like that, we have a West office, W-E-S-T. It's right across the street from Echo Housing, not far from City Hall. You can give them a call and they'll let you know what kind of training is available online. Also, too, a reminder that if you're interested in financially supporting our local cinema, they are still willing to take your money. So you can contact Ron at CCC. Our cinema is really hurting right now. I see that Selkirk Cinema has just closed their doors, and certainly we want ours to stay open. So if you have some extra cash and want to donate, they would really like to have that happen. Dauphin Rotary was supposed to have a Lobster Fest on June the 5th, and they have just changed that to June the 19th, just so you know that change has been happening. Big thank you to everyone who stayed home over the long weekend, and thank you to the staff at our local super site and all our healthcare workers. A reminder to check the government website for the latest COVID restrictions, and also to check credible news sites for updates on vaccines and the virus. And by the way, for those who received Moderna as their first vaccination, our super site apparently is going to have some Moderna days next month. So you will be able to get either a Pfizer or a Moderna shot through our clinic. So just so people are aware that that's available. And of course, AstraZeneca is available at our pharmacies. And that concludes my report.
I hope that Moderna's date is June 15th, because I have an appointment at 12:20. And
Okay.
hopefully I'll get my second dose then and
Okay.
send it away.
Well, I do know.
Pardon?
So I was just going to say that they do have Moderna days and Pfizer days. They won't be giving this two different vaccines on the same day because it just is a way of reducing any mix-ups. So yeah, call and they'll let you know what days.
Well, I've got a date, June 15th. I hope it's Moderna.
Okay.
It's Moderna Day. Councillor Juba.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. May 10th, I attended the regular city council meeting. All these meetings were Microsoft Media, so I won't repeat that each time. May 11th, I attended the Dauphin District Chamber of Commerce annual State of the City address. As mentioned, a wonderful recap of our spending plans and financial plan for this next year. May 10th, I attended a protective services meeting at City Hall. On May the 13th, attended the Dauphin District Chamber of Commerce board meeting at City Hall, and I just want to take a moment to congratulate Stephen Chikota on his new role of being appointed to the board of directors for the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce. And attended the Dauphin, and on May the 20th, I attended the Regional Airport Authority Committee board meeting, also by Microsoft Media, and lots of interesting things are coming up at the airport. There's talk of different exciting upcoming events, so stay tuned to hear about those upcoming events at the airport. Some community events, just a regular Habitat for Humanity board meeting May the 19th. And I just want to shout out thank you to the City of Dauphin for the spring cleaning up campaign this week coming up. Thank you to the firefighters and all the emergency personnel that have facilitated all the with the Red Cross efforts to support the evacuees in our community. And I just want to offer my personal condolences to the Tarrant family on the loss of Iona Tarrant. She passed away over the weekend, Todd Tarrant's mother, and my deepest condolences. And that's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Juba. Councillor Stakhanov.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, May 10th, regular council meeting. May 11th, the State of the City address. Just want to thank the mayor for his excellent presentation, his excellent address over the lunch hour there. It was great to see all of the hard work and all of the plans upcoming for the city. So thank you for that. May 20th, I was in attendance for the Dauphin Regional Airport meeting. I'm happy to say that work continues on the possibility of the Brandon Flight School operating a satellite location at the Dauphin Regional Airport. There's a lot of moving parts to make that happen, but if it does go ahead, that'll be a great news, great addition for our regional airport, and as well for any interested individuals in the region. The only other thing I want to mention is an upcoming event. Dauphin and District Chamber of Commerce will be hosting their 5th annual State of the District event. It'll be held virtually on Tuesday, June 8th. This is a 2-part session, with the first part starting at 7:30 in the morning, which will be a virtual networking gathering with some information on what will be presented at the upcoming second session. And that second session starts at noon, which will feature presentations from a number of municipal leaders and influential organizations across the Parkland. So if people are interested in joining or attending that event, they can check out the Dauphin and District Chamber of Commerce Facebook page, or they can contact the chamber office. And with that, that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Rio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On May 12th, I attended the Protective Services meeting here at City Hall. I just want to thank the I was out at the waste disposal site, and I had a question and didn't know where to go. And so I'm really glad to see that we put in some communication. So thank you to Justin for doing that. I also want to commend the people that are out and about. There was the stay-at-home order, but many people are out and about still having to work, and they're doing an excellent job. So thank you to the people for that. In regards to just want to bring out the fact that there's been a lot of graffiti lately. I know DRS posted a social media post about a lot of graffiti at Vermilion Park, at the skateboard park. There was quite a bit done at the COVID testing site on different streets within Dauphin. And I just want to make sure that people are reporting these incidences. You can do it online or by phoning in and talking to the RCMP. Just please make sure that that's reported. And we had some people volunteer and do some really hard work cleaning it up. So kudos to them. Thank you for that. And also want to bring June 14th is the 4-H sheep and cow sale. They're putting everything online. Please look at that. A lot of young up and comers have done a lot of work with their sheep and lamb and are very proud. So if you can support them, please do. And I also want to send condolences to Todd Tarrant and the family. I went to school with Todd for most of my life, and actually my mom delivered Todd. She worked at the hospital with Iona for many years, so condolences to the family. And here ends my report.
So, Councillor Riel, are you buying some sheep?
I turned vegetarian, Mr. Mayor, 9 months ago, but I have had their sheep, and it is probably the best lamb that I've had.
Oh, good. Councillor Eilers.
Thank you. May 10th, I attended the City Council meeting in person. On May 14th and 17th, I completed the CIB 5-year plan. And on May 20th, we met and had a CIB meeting. On May 21st, I attended the Employee Relations Committee meeting. So I just wanted to say, unfortunately, we had to cancel the chip and soil day due to the new COVID-19 restrictions, but there's still wood chips available for pickup. And they're on the DRS grounds behind the Rotary Arena. And also, I just wanted to let everybody know this year our community will be judged virtually by the CIB national judges. Date is yet to be determined. I haven't received anything back, but it'll be the end of July or the beginning of August. So we're just waiting for a word of when that will be. There's a frost warning for tonight and tomorrow. And I wanted to congratulate the Winnipeg Jets on their awesome showing, beating the Edmonton Oilers in 4-game sweep. They were the underdogs. I'm wearing a shirt in their honor. I've wore it to every game that I've attended. And I wanted to say that they were a true team effort, something positive for the Manitobans. I would like to thank our frontline staff, and I mean, in as far as our medical, but also the ones who are in our grocery stores and also essential services, the gas bars and that, and all the citizens who cooperated with the new public health restrictions. I'd also like to thank the firefighters and the landowners for their efforts to contain the fires. I'm really glad Mother Nature helped in this regards and that I can breathe again. I was troubled by the smoke. And as mentioned before, June 14th for the 4-H virtual auction for the sheep and lamb. And I would like to offer my condolences to Iona Terrence family on her passing. She was involved in many community events. She had a real quick wit and always had a kind word and smile. It was a pleasure to meet her in your daily dealings. And may she rest in peace. She really struggled the last while with her health. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Eilers. I won't ask if you're buying a lamb. Maybe you've turned vegetarian. I don't know.
No, I really support them. We'll have a buyer out there.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Loughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On May the 10th, I attended the regular council meeting here in person here at City Hall. The next day, the 11th, virtually, I attended the State of the City address online. No one really mentioned it, but a little treat in there with Ron MacLean. That was fun to watch. On May the 20th, went to the early morning coffee with MLA Brad Michaleski. Of course, that was put on by the chamber as well. Thanks to Stephen Chakota doing a great job there. Lots of good discussion. Was hoping for a little bit more conversation on the pandemic, but didn't quite get that. But nonetheless, it was a really, really good, well-held virtual event there. On May the 20th, later in the day, Communities in Bloom meeting here in person at City Hall. As Councillor Eilers mentioned a few things there, I won't go into too much more detail as she did quite well. I do want to also give my condolences to Animal Control Officer Todd Tarrant and his family on the recent passing of their mother, Iona. And finally, I despise the Jets. I despise the Oilers. There's a lot of people in this room, though, that like the Jets. So congratulations to the Winnipeg Jets on sweeping the Edmonton Oilers. And good luck against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. For myself, on May 11th, the State of the City, I'd like to thank Ember and Justin for all their hard work in putting it together. I did, you know, they're so good, and it's always done very professionally. On 12th, Detective Services meeting. On 21st, the Employee Relations Committee. And my condolences to Iona, Terrence family. I remember went to a Kinsman function must have been 2 years ago, where they made Iona a honorary member of Kinsman, and Todd spoke very eloquently of his mother, and it's the first time I saw Iona with tears in her eyes, and she couldn't speak. She was just a great person, and always witty, and may you rest in peace, Iona. Couple comments. Again, on June 6th and June 20th at high noon, there's another Gunsmoke coming up. And it's which one? Oh yeah, this one is Chester's murder. It's a real hard one. Poor old Chester passed away. But anyway, high noon on CKDM, and really congratulate Peter Nadolny for his efforts in keeping WAC going and thinking of this. We can't have any gatherings at the WAC, but bringing this idea of radio show or radio drama, it's good. It's really good, and he pieces it all together. And just for as a plug, I urge you to listen, because at the end the mayor sings. So depending on your knowledge of music, please listen. Anyway, the COVID thing, we have a lot of great people in our community, and some of our problems are related to conspiracy theories and rights theories, and this is not the flu. This is a deadly virus. So people, please don't take in these conspiracy theories. They came out of Russia, China. And also, what really bothers me is the young people are being affected. And they claim it's their rights to do that. But under the Canadian Constitution, the Peace, Order, and Good Government Clause, and it says that you can, your rights in case of an emergency and national emergency will be curtailed. And that's great that the federal government and the provincial governments have declared emergency. So please follow the health rules, get a vaccine, and the pandemic that is under emergency is causing problems to all people, the ones that follow the orders, and please get a vaccine, and the numbers will go down and we can return back to normal. I became very upset on seeing things posted on our stores and all this, and it's time to get down and do it. And moved by Councillor Stakailos, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Resolved this meeting be recessed at 6:05. So we'll take a short break.